Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the private server Everlasting. We're with our Scrapper, Silver Phoenix, who is level 35. And I was going to go through the Mission Architect missions that I made today to try. And in fact, I actually started one of the missions. It's one mission. It's a medium-sized mission through a warehouse. And I started doing it, and I screwed up because I have Patrol XP, right? Which is going to screw up the calculations because what I'm trying to do is go through. And so I got to reset my notoriety because I had set it to -1. We got to set it back to +1. And hopefully that will take. And we talked to Colleen Nelson. This is the first contact we've had in Brickstown, so I wanted to start one of those. She goes up against the council. She says, first, there's a problem. We need to get over to Brickstown and defeat some council. Or she just got a call from the wife of Leon Natale, the famous bodybuilder. She said some council goons broke into their house this morning and kidnapped her husband right out of his weight room. You need to go rescue him. So we're going to go rescue this guy. And yeah, so what I got to do is work off the patrol XP, and then once we're not getting the patrol bonus, we can do a fair test of the different levels of notoriety and how they affect experience gain and which one is the fastest per minute. The problem with that is that I don't have time to do that right now. I only have time basically to do a mission or two, so we're gonna have to try that another time when I've got to get online, do at least one mission, retire the patrol XP, and then I can do the architect test 5 or 6 times without the bonus from the patrol XP, because it wouldn't be a fair test, right? You can see I was getting more XP than influence for minions, which you shouldn't be doing. And so that wouldn't be fair if you do say the -1 mission with bonus XP, and then you say, oh, -1 missions gained me more XP. No, it's the bonus XP that's helping you there. So what we're gonna have to do is wait on that, and I'll try it another time. Meanwhile, we're going to work for Colleen Nelson, trying to save this bodybuilder. And remember, we now have 3 toggles. And we are fighting council. And it looks like the notoriety's reset correctly because we're fighting oranges here. We're an orange lieutenant. This guy's a minion, so +1s is what we want. Now these guys are going to probably, if they stay +1 through this whole mission, are probably going to be too easy. We have this unfortunate issue where certain enemies like Circle and Devouring Earth that are resistant to my character, and particularly Circle with all the debuffs, and a few others are going to be too rough to really just cause too much endurance drain and everything if we bump up to level +2, but council are too easy on level +2, and so we're in sort of this gray zone where so we have, let's look at all the entrances and exits here. So there's all these different directions. Is this an exit also? Looks like it. So we're just gonna have to kind of feel out with the 3 toggles how this works. Some of the debuffing was actually AoE, so maybe that won't hit us as much. One of the huge advantage of a defense-based scrapper is that with all that dodge, the debuffs don't hit you as much. And if you're resistance-based, the resistance really doesn't help you against that. Right? There's essentially no way to resist a debuff. Is this the guy? We found him already. Got a clue. And he says, I thought the council was something I'd put behind me, so he must have been a council member. Oh, see, my dad was in the council back in the 50s. Embarrassing, I know. Haven't heard from him in years, though. So, I found the kidnapped bodybuilder. I guess this is a defeat all mission, since we already found him. And he ran off. So we don't need to protect him or anything. So yeah, so I was chatting with one of my supergroup mates, and we were talking about inventions and stuff, and doing high level things, and she mentioned something I hadn't heard of, and I can't remember which element it was, and it's level 50 stuff, and I experienced a lot of the level 50 content, 45, 50 content back in the day, but it's been a while, right? And this is my highest level character, so I haven't really gone back there. And so we were talking about it, and I said something like, well, when my first character got to level 50, there were no inventions, right? There was no auction house. That happened after City of Villains came out, and right around the time City of Villains came out was when I got my first level 50. So I haven't really. There's some guys. So a lot of my knowledge of the high level game is very out of date. And so we were just sort of talking about it, and I said, well, when I was playing the game, they didn't have this stuff, and it turns out, I think this particular person is someone who played on Leandro's server and actually never played the game when it was live. And so I thought, people who were in that boat, or have only played the game since it came back. This is issue quote-unquote 25, right? Which is issue 24 was the last publish, and then Leandro over 6 years modded the game, right? And that mostly included putting things into the game that were in alpha or beta before the game shut down, putting things that were planned. Issue 24, I think, was in beta, so I don't know if that one even went live. But issue 25 is all stuff that never actually made it into the game. I think some of the code was there, but commented out and stuff, and he just activated it. Some of it's just things like giving different archetypes power sets that they didn't used to have, but were already in the game. Like if you give, say, I think this was done by the developers, but giving, say, a tanker primary as a secondary to a scrapper that they didn't used to have, or like giving super reflexes to tankers when they used to only be in scrappers, and things like that. I mean, you could do that because it's just a copy paste. But there are some, the pay to win vendors, which I've shown in an earlier episode. That's all stuff that Leandro added, I believe. And so, that that stuff makes the game play very differently. And I was just started thinking, I wonder how a lot of these people would fare if they had to play the game the way I did, sort of the first year, right? With only single origin enhancements, right? Oh, I see what happened. Bad guys came in. I didn't even realize that. So it didn't ask me to escort him, but there's an ambush anyway. I may have screwed this up. He just ran away, and maybe they killed him off. It didn't say rescue, it just said find, which I did do. So I gotta go find him now. And that's really weird. I guess we've been everywhere. We haven't been up here. Probably doesn't matter. So, yeah, I wonder how these people would exist, right? How they would play the high level game, because most of them seem to rely very heavily on who's attacking me? Oh, Council Ambush. Most of them seem to rely very heavily, these players, on set bonuses and the inventions. And so all of these little set bonuses that you see, I'll show you in a second, in the enhancements. Like, I build for what's in the enhancement, right? The bonuses that the enhancements give me. These bonuses here that improve these stats. But a lot of people build for the set bonuses, the green stuff at the bottom, right? Improving recovery by 2%. So there will be people who will do things like slot powers in slot enhancements in all their powers, each of which with a full set gives you plus 2% recovery, right? And then you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 times 2. You got like 38%, because it's 9 powers each, 38% improved recovery. And I've never done that. I've always slotted for what the enhancement is, right? Because when I was building characters back in the day, that's all you could do, right? All you had was single origin, unless you wanted to do a Hamadan raid. All you had was single origin enhancements. Yeah, this is weird. All we got was a clue about that, but now suddenly we have to go speak to Allison King, who's not our contact. Anyway, all you could do was put enhancements in your power, so all you could do was slot for what the enhancement did directly to the power. They didn't have these secondary effects and set bonuses and things like that. And so I still think that way. The enhancements give you the most bang for the buck, right? 2% is different from 33%, which is, how much a single origin enhancement does, right? 33% bonus to damage or what have you. But a lot of people, when they're talking about builds these days, are actually talking about what the set bonuses do, right? And so I don't tend to think that way, and consequently, my characters essentially don't need the set bonus because I build them to be good without it. The set bonus is a nice little plus, but this character should be fine without it. And I know how to build a character without using set bonuses. So I just wonder how these folks would do if there was no Wentworths, no inventions, no set bonuses. How would they build their character? Would they be able to do it for the high level? I mean, obviously in the low level game they can, because you don't get set bonuses in the low level game generally. But for the high level game, I wonder how they would handle it. Anyway, she says, she's spoken to Leon and learned something quite serious. While plumbing Leon's memories, I discovered that his father, Archon Natale, was a member of an elite group of council soldiers who had volunteered for something called the Scion Experiment. I've searched Leon's memories and for the names of the other participants and cross-checked them, and it seems many of the other participants' children are also missing. Silver Phoenix, you've got to find them. I also need you to search for documentation of the council's plans. So now we've got to find the boss and the plans and the people. Okay, and it looks like we might be going into a sewer. This is cool music and different from a lot of the other zones. Wow, this is way down here. Let's see, it might be just a council base. We don't need to change costumes for that. Nope. We don't need to change costumes for that. Okay, so 7 people to find and 7 people to save and 5 data plans to find. And I hear a glowy. We finally retired our patrol XP, but we're going to get more of it before I log in again. Which means I'm going to have to retire it again before I can do something like do the mission architect test that I'm planning. So yeah, I don't know. One of the things I thought of when I started playing the game, again, one of the things I thought was, well, I could just do SOs all the way to level 50 and just show you guys how that works. And but on the other hand, then that wouldn't have allowed me to show how you can. It's unrealistic in today's version of the game, and has been for quite some time. It's unrealistic to. He's trying to come talk to me. It's unrealistic to play with only SOs because nobody does that anymore. So showing how to do that, I'm not sure if how much that would benefit people other than just to see what it used to be like. What I'm trying to do with this character is be sort of realistic, and that's one of the reasons I didn't want to have artificially inflated influence. Like, just using the influence that you could gain, doing the story arcs you could do, staying on level for your story arcs. How do you go ahead and slot your enhancements as you go, and how do you build your character for the future as well as for the present? What are we doing here? And so I feel like what I'm trying to do is do the game in such a way that you could, if you wanted to, you could follow along, do the same missions I'm doing, do the same things I'm doing, and you could be successful and hopefully play your character like I have without ever dying or hardly ever dying, right? And enjoy the game and play it the way it was meant to be played and have a mostly vanilla experience with some of the extra stuff sort of factored in, right? So, so what does this clue says? This says, this file taken from a council computer lists the names of the council members who participated in the experiment in 1982. The children of these men were expected to be exceptionally strong. The file says they are likely to be perfect candidates for Ravenna. So what is Ravenna? Ravenna is a little region in Seattle. I lived there for a while. I don't know anything else about Ravenna. So yeah, I mean, this playthrough has been kind of a compromise between getting as much vanilla experience as possible, but not sort of purposely giving up powers and abilities my character could have just to sort of deliberately gimp myself. I haven't done that. Okay, so let's see. Oh, this is actually a tunnel that leads somewhere. I thought I was just looking for glowies. Missed him. I do like how much Crane Kick recharges now. It's awesome. Every like 5 seconds or so. Are you gonna react to me? Okay. More council members. Yeah, so the Night Wolves have some smashing resistance. I guess technically I should do him last. Because the idea is you want to get each individual out as fast as possible so that you're not having multiple guys shooting at you, because especially as a reflex scrapper, right, the more shots they take at you, the higher the chance one of them is going to hit. But what you can see is against these guys, our health bar is doing just fine. And we're not having any trouble at all with these guys. Right. One of the other things, you know, so I've been talking about whether we want to boost to +2 or not. Right now, our notoriety is at +1. Right. We could also boost to the number of players. Right. Make it 2 players, which would make it a little harder without like killing our 2-hit chances and stuff with the higher level 2-hit penalties and stuff. But the problem is that any of those things we do are going to increase the amount of XP we get per mission, right? It might not. My test that I'm trying to do with the Architect is to look at the XP per minute, right? People, I think the idea of fighting purples to gain XP faster per minute is a myth, right? I've always believed that, and I want to, you know, do a test to prove it. But there is no question that fighting purples in a mission is going to make you get more experience per mission, and I'm trying not to increase the XP gain per mission, because that means I get fewer missions per level, which means we could outlevel our story arcs. Now, we shouldn't be doing that anymore. At level 30 to 35, it went exactly right, and we didn't outlevel our story arcs at all, but just barely. Now, that pattern should get better as we level up, because you need more and more XP per level, and you have to do more and more missions. You get out of my way. To gain the XP to gain a level as you level up, but I still don't want to be extremely frivolous about how much experience I gain. So, like, we're fighting purples. If we've been fighting purples all the way through the last set of story arcs, if we assume I didn't die and get a bunch of debt, I would have finished my story arcs at level 34 or something instead of 35, because we're gaining so much more XP per level. It would have taken a lot more hours to complete each mission, you know, each set of missions. You know, instead of doing, what do I average, probably roughly 2 missions per episode. I'd be averaging 1. So we'd have a lot more episodes and it would take a lot more time to do. But we'd be getting more XP per mission, and we'd be doing fewer missions per level range, and that means fewer story arcs, which I don't want to do. So one of my hesitations that I haven't actually talked about, but it has been in the back of my mind in terms of whether I should bump it up to level +1. Let me go back up here and finish this hallway in case there's a captive. But one of my considerations is also just how fast I want to level per mission, not necessarily per hour, right? I don't care about the hours. As far as I'm concerned, the more hours I play this character, the better, because I love it. I love martial arts. I like doing the story arcs again, especially for the first time, and I'm enjoying it, so I'm in no mood or need to rush. But so I'm not interested in maximizing the XP rate, gain rate per minute, right, or per hour. I'm interested in maximizing the amount of hours I play this character. So if going up to the higher levels reduces my XP rate per minute, maybe we could do that, even if it's harder. Might be fun, whatever, but it's going to mean we do less missions per level, and I don't know that I want to do that either. So I'm trying to find the sweet spot here. I'm not sure I've got it yet. It might be that level... I feel like the level +2 kind of range was the sweet spot when I got into the 40s with this character. It wasn't this character, but with Martial Arts Super Reflex. But we'll just have to see what happens as we go. I feel like level +1 has been pretty good until now, and now for a lot of different mob types it's getting a little bit too easy. Alright, so we're going to have to go down, but we're also going to have to look in all of these little nooks and crannies for prisoners. You can see we can almost do 1, 2, 3 on these guys, and the reason we can't, just want to check everywhere around down here, the reason we can't yet is because Storm Kick, here's a little buddy, Storm Kick isn't fully enhanced yet, and as I said early on, you can do the 1, 2, 3, but you've got to have your powers completely enhanced. So Thunder Kick and Crane Kick are, but Storm Kick is not. We also will be able to do 1, 2, 3 with Eagle's Claw once that's fully enhanced as well. We almost can do it now because it does so much damage. Alright, so there's still 2 people to save. We don't have any glowies. Now that's a bit of a disadvantage because the people don't emit any noises. And so we're just going to have to keep looking for them and hope we can find them. There's some bad guys, but no prisoners. Alright. Again, bad guys, but no prisoners. I don't know why they program these guys to, like, belch at you. It sounds really stupid. Oh, and here's a boss. Cool. Alright. Luthier, the vampire. See if we can crit this guy. There we go. Look at that. 400 damage in one shot. Another crit. Got him. So, where else can we go here? Been there, been there, been there. Been down there. Not sure. So now I'm going to be stuck looking for these last hostages again. Oh, there's one. Alright. So I'm guessing it's probably either in here or in here. There might be somebody over there too. Try to look behind everything. Yeah, I have to say, I love this game, but one thing I could live without about it is just the constant, like, looking in every nook and cranny for something, for like the one little last thing that you have to find. I could live without that. Right? If they just didn't put the hostages in these areas where everything is hidden, you know what I mean? Just put them out in the open so I can find them. These maps can be very hard to navigate, hard to see in 3D and stuff like that. There we go. Found them. Okay. Done. Saved everybody. Found an enhancement. Don't need any of those. At some point I need to sell salvage again. Alright, so we'll head out. And my guess is there's going to be another mission. No, we completed that. Return to the contact. So we're going to go back to Colleen and then we will stop for today. Oh, we got to get out of here now. Can I get out? No, I have to go all the way up. Alright, out we go. Fortunately, Colleen's right here. Wow, that is really close to a contact over there. So we can get a new contact, Stephen Sheridan or Ginger Yates. I'm going to pick Stephen Sheridan because I knew somebody named Stephen Sheridan when I was a kid. And we don't have any story arcs being offered from her yet, but we do have her cell phone, so we can call her. And we're going to head back to the train station. I'm going to go sell a little bit of salvage and try to clear my inventory, and I'll see you guys next time on City of Heroes.